I'm using a 615C with Xeon Gold 6242. On this system, I have a virtual machine, Windows virtual machine with some disks, such as the SQL disks, 2 of them on data stores. And then I have some disks using raw devices from the same storage backend. All of these disks that you see here are on an EF280 array. In this case, it's a 2U array with 24 SSDs in a DDP pool. What does that mean? It means we get a RAID 6-like data protection with very good resilience and uptime, and we leave 2 disks worth of spare capacity. All these volumes on this DDP. Right now, it's almost idle. Now I will run some workload on the NTFS, REFS, and the striped REFS. The parameters come from this Veeam knowledge base article. As you can see, the first test is purely sequential write. The other 2 has 67 and 50% write, respectively, and use 4K reads. So I'll run the first batch against a NTFS striped volume on data stores, and the other 2 REFS on raw devices. One consists of a non-striped, and the second one is a 4-volume striped REFS. The first test, like I said, is completely sequential, large sequential writes. As expected, it generates a lot of megabytes per second and illustrates the performance I could get from full backup. Now, I'm using a 64 gig dataset in order to not get it cached on the VM or the controller itself. As we can see, we can get about 1.7 gigabytes per second with this. That would illustrate the performance of full backup we could get from this single volume. Now I skipped the other test, and this is the last batch actually, because it takes a while. One thing that I discovered is if you zoom in and out too often, eSeries gradually averages I/O, so the curve gets too average if the duration of the test is too short, which I unfortunately did. So I left the last one without zooming in and out. So the 3 tests have completed. So all the earlier ones are average, but I have the logs, so I will post them on my blog. The other ones are here. You can see 1.7, 1 gig, and then finally 550 meg performance for the last test. This is quite similar actually to the striped NTFS volumes on data stores. Now the last thing is a full read, which there's no test for it on the Veeam in the Veeam KB article, but I have a backup on the striped REFS volume of a 79 gig database, and I wanted to restore this database to see the read performance in this particular case. My data files are on the NTFS is striped, so that's drive F, and logs are on a non-striped NTFS on data store on drive E. This happened really quickly. You can see here I got very good restore performance, and this is a SQL backup, non-compressed, so as you can imagine, you could probably restore a 2x compressed data at a couple of gigabytes per second, completely restored. And we got about 2 gigabytes read performance with non-compressed backup.